Dude, I almost got in a fight this morning. Straight up. Closest I've ever been to getting a fight.
Physical fight. Not just an argument and an emotional fight.
Straight up. I got out of the car and threatened the guy.
Oh, okay,
no.
well,
Start
that
from
should
the beginning.
be. Why didn't you start the podcast with that? Okay?
I don't know.
Okay,
Because
so
we were
go
talking
ahead.
about movies and stuff. I didn't want to just jump in.
All right, so.
All right, I'm going to share the story of what happened to us yesterday, to me and the kids. It was very scary at the time when it was happening, but also it made me realize that there's like superheroes and vigilantes, and it happened to be Bren yesterday.
That must feel so good for her, dude.
Oh, she was like, I've never been so turned on.
There
I was
you
like,
go.
That's what it took? Of course I can whoop his ass. I'm
But
like,
that's
you don't know that
yeah,
from
but
the
you
get-go?
came to her rescue.
Yeah, it's not
Oh,
about...
dude, I'm talking under 45 seconds.
Yeah, no, I know. All right, so what happened?
Easy there, thick boy. Let's take this one slow. So, if you haven't heard, Brendan's wife found herself the victim of a road rage incident last week in a drive-thru at Starbucks. Luckily, though, Crinjo Puppy just happened to be 45 seconds away and came to the rescue of his wife and kids in what can only be described as an heroic effort. However, like everything that happens in Brendan's life, there is a problem. Which story do we believe? You see, his wife came out and posted a now deleted Instagram video explaining what happened and bragging about how her beast of a husband came to the rescue and saved her and the kids from imminent harm by giving the alleged perpetrator diarrhea. Yeah, she actually said that. But as if this was all scripted by the man himself, Brandon just couldn't help himself and shared his version of events on the latest episode of the Golden Hour podcast, which was posted in full Starbucks theme. So, luckily for you guys, I've gone through and dissected each version of events and put them side by side for forensic examination, and given that there's no evidence of these events other than the hearsay testimony of Brendan and his wife, it's up to you which story you believe. But don't worry, I'll obviously tell you what I actually think happened and why. Just before we get straight into it, remember to check out the link in the description below to my Patreon, where I just posted my much anticipated video covering last weekend's Kill Tony MSG shows with full uncensored clips and commentary. From the feedback so far, it's looking like you guys want a part 2, so if you're interested, go and check it out and support the channel over on Patreon. Unfortunately, for one reason or another, our boy Bupper did not make an appearance at Madison Square Garden. However, Rogan did force Tony Hinchcliffe to share a small room with Brendan yesterday on the Fight Companion for UFC 305, which was awkward as fuck. But getting back to our forensic investigation of the alleged road rage incident last week, let's see how it all started.
I always work out early enough, so my wife posted, what'd she post? She put, "You were my superhero today, and always I hope you talk about it on the pod," of course. But just so just know your kids and I were so proud.
Oh.
How sexy you came to my rescue at Starbucks today. I'll forgive you leaving your shoes on the floor.
Okay.
Work out at 6 a.m. to get back in time to get the kids ready for school.
You go back in time?
Yeah, dude. To get back in time.
Oh my God, finally someone figured it out.
So I always leave the house early to get back to get the kids ready for school, summer camp, whatever. It's 7 a.m. I'm headed back. Okay. And I call her, and she's like, "Oh, we left already." I'm like, "What the fuck you leave so early?" She's like, "Tiger has to get there early for summer camp, something has to do." She's like, "We're in line at Starbucks." Okay. I'm like, "What Starbucks?" She's like, "The one off DeSoto, right up here."
We were leaving my house pretty early. We usually leave like 7:45, whether it is to go to school, to camp, and Bren usually works out in the mornings, and he comes back on time to say goodbye, whatever, give us a kiss, and head on for the rest of the day. But yesterday he didn't make it. The odds of him not making it yesterday. And so I drive to Starbucks. It's super close to my house. And I pull into the Starbucks. There's that work truck in front of me, and they're ordering. So I'm right behind, and there's a car behind me now because that Starbucks is pretty busy.
Alright, so we've only just got the tip in and already the inconsistencies have started. Brendan's saying he was heading back to the house to see the wife and kids off at 7 a.m, but the wife is saying that they left at 7:45 a.m, and Brendan was running uncharacteristically late, so he missed them.
So I'm like, all right, well, I don't want the kids to start the day without seeing me. I'll stop by the Starbucks.
I love it. Very cute, dude.
As we're on the phone, I hear, "Goo, get the car out. Get the hell out the car, bitch. I'm gonna fuck you and the kids up." I'm like, whoa.
Wait a minute.
She's like, "Babe, this guy's getting out of his car. He's banging on the thing." I'm like, "What?" I go, "Lock the doors, roll up the windows, leave him there. Make sure he can't get out. I'm 1 minute away. Make sure his ass does not leave this." I can hear him yelling, hitting the car. right?
While the truck in front of me that caused havoc was ordering, Bren called me. And he said, hey, babe, where are you? And I said, oh, I'm at the Starbucks. I said, I'm with the kids. He said, oh, I'm literally like 3-4 minutes away. He goes, order your stuff. And then because it's a gas station, you can wait. And he said, just wait for me. I'll come give you guys a hug and a kiss. And then you guys can head off to your day. So I said, perfect.
Then we have another inconsistency. He's saying he heard the incident take place while they were on the phone, but she's saying that nothing happened over the phone. They just planned to meet at the gas station. And then after they hung up, that's when shit went down.
He was in that big fucking construction, like city truck, and he couldn't fit through the drive-through.
Okay.
So he was reversing, and Joanna just gave her like a curt, like beep, like, oh, I'll get out the way.
Right.
And then the car behind her, because she was backing up, held on the horn. And I guess he thought maybe it was her,
sure.
but he was pissed. And then she was like, oh, I'm going to get out the way so you can back up. And that's when he got out and started hitting the car. She's like, whoa, dude.
I pull up. It's my turn to order my drink. And I roll the window down. I order our drinks. But the work truck in front of me, I guess work trucks are a little wider. They're like a wider load. So he didn't give himself enough space. So he starts backing up. And in 2024, I want to say most cars have rear view cameras. However, this guy got really close to my car. So I did a courtesy like honk. I said, babe, like, hey, I'm here. Don't back up anymore because I'm right here. So he stops. I put my car in reverse and I start backing up myself. The lady behind me apparently doesn't know we live in 2024 where we have rear view cameras, and she holds the horn, which felt like for 5 minutes. She's literally hanging on to the horn, like the honking horn. And I'm like, whoa, I'm like, what are you doing?
Okay, this is brilliant. I'm not sure why, but I always assumed that Bupper was the biggest redact in the family. However, it looks like there's some fierce competition from the wife. In almost the very same sentence, she says the guy in front was reversing, and even though it's 2024 and we have reversing cameras on most cars, she gave him a courtesy beep, but the woman behind her didn't realize that it's 2024 and we have reversing cameras and beeped as well, except she held onto the horn for a much longer period of time. So the woman behind her doesn't know we have cameras and beeped, but she herself beeped as well. Yep, makes sense. That's the kind of logic I would come to expect from Bupper's better half.
So we see this guy coming and he starts shouting at me like horribly. Bitch, what are you doing honking at me? And then he comes to my car and slams the hood of my car. I told the guy, I said, back up. I said, if you get any closer, I will run you over. I said, you are scaring my kids. You need to back up. And he goes, who do you think you're talking to? Blah, blah, blah. He goes, I will f*** you up. When he said that, it clicked in my mind that my husband was on his way to give me and his kids a kiss before sending us off to summer camp. And so I said, oh, okay. I said, you really want to do this? I said, that's how you feel? And he goes, yes, bitch, I will f*** you up. And so I'm like, all right. I said, you know what? I'm going to call my husband and he's the one that's going to F you up. I said, you don't talk to a woman like that, let alone you don't talk to a woman who has her kids in the car.
So again, this supposedly happened while Brendan was on the phone with her the first time, except she's saying that she called him a second time after she was threatened to summon her beast of a husband to come down and commit a felony in front of the kids.
I giggled and I looked at him and I said, you're going to regret you said that in about 1 minute, 1.5 minutes. You're going to regret you just said that to me. And he goes, okay, I'll be waiting. I said, okay, dude. Why don't you get back in your car? We'll see what happens.
So I go, what kind of car is he in? She's like, he's in a construction truck, like a white truck. I'm like, big dude? She's like, looks pretty big, has a beard. I'm like, cool, say less.
So now I'm shaky and I call Bren and I'm like, babe, where are you? And he's like, oh, he's like all happy go doodle guy, driving to Starbucks. And I'm like, where are you? And he's like, whoa. He's like, what's up? He's like, what's going on? I said, the MO foe in front of me just threatened me and your kids, and he said he was gonna fuck me up. And Bren goes, what? He goes, what does he look like? What is he driving? And I said, he's in front of me. He's in a white work truck. He is a Caucasian male, and he was very aggressive towards me. And this is what he said. He goes, "I will be right there." And I said, "Thank you. I will be here too."
Okay, so this is where things really start to get interesting. I don't know if you guys just caught that, but did you notice how Brendan allegedly asked his wife if the driver of the truck was a big guy, and she said yes, and he said, "All good, I'm coming." Her recollection was that she only told him the type of car he was in and that he was Caucasian. And here's the thing. We're getting to the meat of the story now, and this is where they basically tell two completely different stories. She's trying to flex that her beast of a husband came down, super aggressive, he saw red, she's never seen him like that before, except Brendan says the complete opposite. He says that he was super calm, he was in control, and he took care of the situation in an orderly and civil way. He even says that his wife was so surprised about how calm he was, and that it turned her on. Yet her recollection straight from the G-Wagon completely contradicted that. So who's telling the truth?
I'm pulling up. I'm taking a left-hand turn. I see that construction truck trying to get out of the way. I cut through all the lanes, middle of traffic. I cut him off. I'm in my F100, the Velocity F100.
Just like Batman.
Cut him off. This dude fucked up, though, because your boy just got done with buys and chest.
Next thing you know, I hear like screeching tires, and I'm like, oh shit, that's definitely gonna be Bren. Bren comes and intersects him in the middle of Ventura Boulevard. So this guy has no idea what's going on. He thinks he's God Almighty, calling me up, saying he's gonna fuck me up, saying all these hurtful and horrible things to me, and thinking, oh, cool, I just get to leave now.
And he's like, nah, man. He's in the car going, nah, man. I go, no. And I'm calm in this situation. So I go to open the door. I go, get the
What door? His door?
His door. I go to open it. I go, get the fuck out the
and
car.
And it's this thing? Okay,
that's it. That's him. And he goes, nope. And I go, get the fuck out the car. He goes, nope. I go, roll down the window. He rolls down the window. And I just very calmly, I go, do you have a gun? He goes, what? I go, do you have a gun? He goes, no. I go, very cool. Get the fuck out the car.
Out of nowhere, I see Bren get out of the car, like out of his truck, with like a death stare in his eye. Like all he saw was red. He was so upset. He slams the door and he tries to like open the passenger door of this guy's work truck, and it's locked, and he starts like yelling, "Open the fucking window," and this guy looks over and he doesn't know what just hit him.
She goes, you know what's fucking terrifying or what? She goes, how calm you were. She's like, that scared the shit out of him. I'm like, yeah. People that can fight, who can handle themselves, aren't all crazy.
Yeah.
She goes, you just walked out and went, do you have a gun? And he was like, no. I was like, cool, get out the car. I've given him several warnings. Don't get out of the truck. Get out of the truck, your day's going to get a lot worse. Don't make me do this. Get out the car. He's like, nope, not getting out of the car. I'm like, dude, get out of the car. He's like, I'm not going to fight you in the middle of the road. I go, all good, dude. You just turn around. You see that dumpster behind the Starbucks? I'll fight you behind there. I'm telling you, no, I won't touch you. Just drive your fucking car to there, and I'm going to fuck you up right by that dumpster. And he's like, nah, the thing is, and I'm like, I'm just super calm. And I'm like, no, dude, just, we'll do it here or we'll do it there. But either way, you can't talk to people like this, man. Like, you think you're tough? Talking shit to an innocent female and two kids? Dude, I'm telling you, just go over there and we're going to figure this out. And he's like, the thing, just fucking almost gets in a fucking wreck and just takes off. And I hear my kids like, yeah. Wow. And then I turn around and I said, and Bossy, what was the lesson today? They're like, don't hit mom's car. I'm like, sure, that's fine. Also, fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out.
All right, while you guys are recovering from the cringe overload, let me break this down. Like I said before, she's saying he rocked up in a rage and saw red, but he's saying he was completely calm and it turned her on, which I'll show you in a moment. But did you also notice how, according to Brendan, he was being super cautious? He asked his wife on the phone how big the guy was, he approached the truck in a calm manner and asked him to wind the window down, asked him if he had a gun, and then simultaneously told the guy to get out of the truck, but warned him not to get out of the truck, apparently for legal reasons, which I'll also come to to in a moment. And it just struck me that with the whole tough guy narrative that Bupper pushes on the regular, that he kind of acted like a massive pussy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I would have necessarily done anything differently, or if I would have busted the guy out of the truck and beat him up. I'm not some tough guy, and I'm under no delusions, but Brendan's an ex-UFC top 10 heavyweight who could smash 99.99% of the human population on any given day without so much as breaking a sweat. The other thing is, Brendan's also a beast of a family guy, and when it comes to his family, he's made it clear that all bets are off. So why would he ask a guy if he had a gun? Like, I get that it could obviously be a problem, but when you're in that moment, a true tough guy like our boy Bupper wouldn't even think of that. He'd have already pulled the guy out of the truck and beat him senselessly. I mean, could you imagine Sean Strickland rocking up and asking a guy if he has a gun right after that guy threatened his family?
My wife was like, how do you know he's telling the truth? He didn't have a gun. I'm like, because the way he answered, what? I'm like, do you have a gun? He's like, no.
What if he said yes? What would you have done?
Okay, have a good day.
Right.
I don't want.
My wife wants to apologize to you.
What?
Yeah.
You would have been like, my wife wants to apologize.
I'm like,
honey, get over here. Get over here.
I came here because I think we should deport her from America.
Yeah, that just ruined the tough guy narrative that he's been building for years, because that's how a rational, cool-headed individual would think in that situation, not somebody like our boy Bupper. Remember just a few months ago when he got all butthurt because Steve Will Do It called him out on Twitter for his redacted comments about UFC 300, so he challenged Steve Will Do It to a duel at Bradley Martin's gym.
What's it? Steve Will Do It. He came at me on Twitter. I was like, what? You know, I have a background, so there's stuff you can go after. Yeah, I wasn't world champion. No, I'm not Kevin Hart or Joe Rogan. You know? So you can poke stuff at that. It's like, oh, you just don't know, Bubba. Failed comedian. Oh, buddy, you don't know comedy. You don't know comedy. That doesn't work. So I'm easy to find. You can get my number from Bradley. If there's something going on that I don't know about, you're so upset, I can meet you at Zoo Culture, whichever location you want. We can meet there. We can talk about it. If you're so mad, we can go in the back room and figure it out. You sign papers that you're not going to sue or anything like that. We can figure it out. No, like I don't. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's how this goes.
Never do that, but I know what you're saying.
No, but I'm saying if he's that mad, it's like
if he wants to,
we can figure it out. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
But you would never. I know you would never.
No, I don't want to. He seems like he's small too. I don't. So it doesn't like I don't come off as a bully. But remember, he came at me. So it's like if you're that mad, that's an angle. I'm down. I've never had a single person on this earth come after me that I couldn't beat up, and that's just facts. This isn't a bully thing. This isn't a cocky thing. When it comes to hand-to-hand fighting, I will f you up. Unless your name's Francis Ngannou, Gordon Ryan, Tyson Fury, I will f you up. And these are just facts. These are just facts.
That's right, unless you're one of a handful of people on this planet who are trained assassins like Bupper, he'll mess you up, or basically just anyone with a gun. And this is the thing about Brendan that I think a lot of us already know. He's just a common bully. He only ever threatens people he knows he can handle easily, like Bobby Lee, Kalila, Steve Will Do It, his producer Chin, and his side piece Brian Callen. As long as he knows he's safe, he's a tough guy. But when you introduce variables, then he's cool, calm, and collected, which is obviously a good thing, don't get me wrong, but if he wants true tough guy status, the family man who sees red when his family is threatened doesn't knock on the window and politely ask someone if they have a gun before challenging them to a duel by the dumpsters.
The sheer terror in this guy's face, I've never seen it. Listen, I'm not for violence, but the happiness I felt to see this guy literally shit his pants and be on the crying, on the verge of crying, shaking, he didn't know what hit him, was the most gratifying thing that I have ever experienced.
That must feel so good for her, dude.
She was like, I've never been so turned on.
There
I was
you
like,
go.
That's what it took? That fat construction guy?
That's a basic.
It's not the fat construction guy.
No, I'm just saying like that. Of course I can whoop his ass. I'm
But
like, you don't know that from the get-go?
You came to her rescue.
Yeah, it's not about.
Oh, dude, I'm talking under 45 seconds.
Yeah, no, I know.
And Tiger's like, Jesus.
That's crazy.
Hang tight. You got a gun?
And also from his wife's perspective, I think it says a lot that she would willingly drag Brendan into a potentially violent situation like that and expect him to be the tough guy when she wasn't really in any danger. Remember, after that guy had allegedly threatened her, she wasn't in any imminent danger. In fact, Brendan told his wife to block the guy in and not let him leave. That's just pure ego. I mean, wouldn't you tell your wife and kids to get away from the threat and not escalate it any further? For me, the right thing to do would have been to get the CCTV footage and submit it to police so they can arrest the guy in the truck if it actually went down the way she said it did, because it would constitute assault under Californian laws. Not to mention that I'm surprised she didn't get the whole thing on camera herself. And speaking of Californian laws, Brendan yet again proved just how little he knows about how the law works. This was actually fucking hilarious because his co-host Eric Griffin called him out and had to explain that his reasoning was completely wrong.
I'm giving warnings because if he's filming or it's because he's in a city truck, I've given him several warnings. So if it's in, if it's on trial or it's in the court of law, they're like, he did warn his ass several times.
Yeah.
That's what goes through my head.
I know, but I don't know if I don't actually think that's going to help you in court.
No, except
like
for the fact that they
if you're Bruce Lee and you have the skills to kill someone.
That's not true.
But but I'm saying you can't be like,
these aren't like lethal weapons.
Get out of the car. Like, don't get out of the car. I'll you. Like you're.
No, I gave him a warning. I said, get out of the car. He goes, no.
Get out of the car.
Except for they could argue that when he got out of the car, he took it as a life-threatening.
That's
thing.
what I was telling him. If you get out of the car, I'm assuming you want to engage in a physical.
Well, what I'm saying
combat.
is, if you really wanted to fight, I mean, there's ways to get him out of the car. I mean, you could have been like,
Trust me, he wasn't getting out of the car.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that must have been disappointing then.
Yes.
So you walked up and you were hoping that he was a tough guy.
Yep.
Trying to, because then you're like, yes.
I was just hoping it wasn't Francis and Ghana.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, babe, is he black? She's like, nope. I'm like, I'll be right there.
Okay, that's some teenage boy logic right there. I'm going to start throwing punches, and if you get in the way, it's your own fault. You can't consent to battery in the state of California. Most jurisdictions around the world are the same as well. But not only that, they sandwiched his car in so he couldn't get away, and then Brandon allegedly threatened that he would assault him if he got out of the car. That sounds like false imprisonment to me. I mean, how can you have a genuine fear of imminent harm if you're actively preventing the threat from leaving? Wouldn't that make you the threat? In fact, if that guy had caused an accident in the process of escaping Brendan's threats, then Brandon would potentially be held partially liable. He really needs a fucking handler, dude. Maybe somebody with a law degree, or even just somebody with an ounce of common sense, just to stop him from repeatedly incriminating himself on the internet. But hey, redacts are gonna redact. Anyway, remember to check out the link in the description to my Patreon if you want to see my breakdown of Kill Tony's massive weekend at Madison Square Garden. There's a bunch of other stuff on there as well, so check it out and support the channel on Patreon. Also, if you're not a regular of this channel yet, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you ended up enjoying this video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.
There is no way on earth you're going to be able to defeat the beast of a husband that I have. So good luck. This guy, I think, probably got diarrhea instantly.